Um, One other thing that I thought I'd bring up in this, are you guys familiar, or have you looked at the link to the Facebook page yet? Let me share my screen again and go back into our agenda. There is a Facebook group here called Collegiate Piano Pedagogy Forum that we had decided to go ahead and create this forum which would allow university professors to collaborate ideas and even create a course that you would be willing to share some of your ideas with other teachers. I've gone through the Alfred course. I've gone through a lot of different courses, keyboard strategies with students, and I always find that there are problems with it. One of my biggest challenges is people seem to think that because adults conceptually learn faster, that they don't need to go through as much material. They don't need to pay the price to read quantities and to read easy things. And so you get a lot of adult books that conceptually move very quickly, and they don't give a lot of foundation practice. And so I'm under the assumption that adults need just as much quantity as the students or as young kids would need. The only difference is they could go through it much quicker. So I feel like that's been one big hole in adult learning for college stuff. So one of the syllabus that I created, which you guys can take, I know I shared this with Emily, and I don't know if she used any of it or not. Did you use some of that? Or you created your own, right?
It was awesome for inspiration, but then I ended up kind of doing my own thing. Yeah. But I loved it. It was still really helpful.
So what I have students do is, let me show you the, where did that syllabus go? Not the sight reading. I think we might have put, under curriculum. So if we open up this curriculum one, you can see this free PDFs that show you how to get there. There's Alfred Group Piano for Adults and Alfred 101. Again, all of these are very geared around the idea that students don't need as much repetition. So I was just giving this to students at an adult level and just said, go through it as fast as you can. Quantity is really good. The more you can read at an easy level, the better. So my syllabus, this isn't in here. Where did the syllabus go? I'm not quite sure where I put the syllabus. I think it might be in here. Yeah, here we are. So I put this syllabus on here for you as a sample syllabus. You can use this as a sample and then go from there. You just make, what you do is you go up to the top, you say File, make a copy, and then you own that copy. And then you can change and put the year, syllabus instructor, room, office, email, and then you can change up some different requirements or whatever. But down here I said, in the week 1, go through method and technique. So there are 20 easy songs here, 20 easy songs here, 20 here, 20 here. And then, so that week 1, you could have them go through 40 songs, which is really good just for reading. And then the next week, I said, okay, I'm going to slow down and have you just do 20, 10 and 10, or 20 and 20, so there's 40. Oh, I guess that's 80 songs that first week. And then go through the solo. And I put this link over here to some solos and ensembles, which is a PDF that I put together of some more entertaining songs that students can pick from to do, and they're all in Piano Marvel. You can change that if you want, make your own PDF, but this kind of gives you just a starting spot. If you want, the wheel's been created, no sense in recreating it until you try it out and learn some things and then move from there. So this is available to you as far as quantity goes. So when I say the level 1, what that is, you come over here and they just go through level 1. They open up the song, play through it, they get their score and just quantities of music, go through them systematically. Now, a lot of teachers will simultaneously go through some harder stuff or intermingle it with recital pieces or scales, but this could be used just as sight reading. I mentioned the Sasser for our sight reading. I'm going to move pretty quickly now. The Sasser is designed to test you around your ability to sight read. And I'll show you a report of my students. When I go over to, whoops, go away. Having a hard time with that. Okay. So if I come over to my reports, I can take a look and see which of my students are the best sight readers just by opening up the Sasser report. It gives them a sight reading test, and they read through like 15 pieces around their level, and it tells me that this student is reading about a 309. This student's reading about a level 10. This one's reading a level 2. I can actually sort and see who is my best sight readers in my class. I can sort it by class or type in a class if I just want to see my ninja students. Then you can see just those ninja students. And then my best student here in this class is Isabel, who's 10, Mason, 12, and Miley, who's got a 362. She's reading in mid-level 3. So it's really handy to be able to see at a glance who has problem sight reading and who excels at sight reading. And then it allows you to develop a plan around their level to improve their sight reading. But it's also a good way to practice your sight reading because it gives you constantly new material to sight read. And so a lot of universities say, I want you to go in, take this sight reading test every single week. I've seen people say for the first month, I want you to take it every single day. That's basically reading about 450 pieces in a month. Again, that's right here under the SASSR, which stands for Standard Assessment of Sight Reading. It keeps track of their growth over time. So does anybody have any questions about that particular thing with sight reading? Want to go to my, oh yeah, Tracy, what's your question with that?
You were saying that you were looking at a score, able to tell what level they're in. Is there a number? I guess I've never learned the system.
Well, it's easy. Anything in the 100s is a level 1.
Oh, okay.
Level 2. 900s is a level 9.
Okay. And you, piano moral grades from level 1 all the way to 10, 9?
Well, the method only goes through level 6. At that point, then you're reading classical stuff, classical repertoire.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's basically like any other method out there. They only go up through level 6, and you should be reading your classical repertoire, the easy stuff at that point.
But the Sasser goes up through 18, though, to answer
Yeah.
Jan.
And so we have, and Tracy actually belongs to the sight reading team, who I think James Lent is on this group. You also belong to that. So we have some freaks of nature who just read like crazy. I don't know what a brain has to do to be able to read like they do. So we took some of the best sight readers in the world, and they're reading through the top level repertoire in the world. And we are actually grading which is the easiest and hardest songs, and we're putting them in their levels. The world record for the sight reading, it's been fun to just watch different people come to MTNA events and perform or just sight read. You would not believe what some students can sight read. We had a doctoral student, she took the world record from CU Boulder, and she told her teacher that, and he said, I'm tired of hearing that she has a world record. I'm going to beat her. So he came in and he played it, and he couldn't beat her. So he came back the next day, played it again, and he did beat her. And so he posted it on Facebook that he now holds the world record, and his student didn't anymore. Well, it wasn't much longer, and there was a master's student from BYU that came in and beat the world record. And then last fall, when we had MTNA, we had a sophomore in high school come in and destroy the world record. I don't know how that kid read so well. But it's really fun to just see these, any level. You can be a level 1 and use a test, or you can be a genius, level 18, and you can still find stuff in there that will challenge you for reading. So it's very universal and super easy. But one of my favorite things to do is go through these challenges that we do. We're doing this challenge, which I highly recommend if you're going to use Piano Marvel, that you somehow implement the Christmas challenge in your class. It is the coolest thing in the world. You can kind of see how it works right now. We're doing an FJH challenge. If you log into Piano Marvel, you'll see a little pop-up in the library. Go through and do some of that FJH challenge to see how it works, just to experiment. There's lots and lots of easy stuff for reading, and then you have more challenging stuff for reading. Kevin Olsen, anybody familiar with his works? He has a ton of really good reading stuff for easy and for difficult stuff. Really great composer. So we're doing, and he does FJH. So if you want to go and just kind of experiment with that, go into the library sometime this month and just test it out. That challenge ends the end of this month.
Aaron?
Yes.
So with all of the sight reading materials that you have at the disposal, do you have an idea how many pages or how many pieces there are?
I think we have about 12,000.
No, that's wrong. Sorry. We have about 25,000. We just added every Bach chorale transposed to every key, which is like 4,000 alone.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a lot of music, and Tracy and all of them that are a part of our sight reading team, Diane Scott's on here. She's part of it. They're all helping us add even more, like 1,000 more songs. So we have
And they're all graded, like leveled.
Yeah. With in the Sasser, we have 2,000 that are like all done with like years of data. And we're adding even more off of this whole project. So, and then so there's lots of stuff in there, lots of stuff. I could talk your ear off about it, Ron.
Yeah.
You've done what I had dreamed of doing, but could never do. So
yeah, it's a huge, huge project, but it's one of the coolest things that I've been a part of, is building this sight reading assessment. Really cool, and get to work with some of the world's best sight readers on it and collaborate with them.
Aaron,
one of the most valuable applications of the Sasser was, I think, for the first day of class piano. Do you want to share that story of what we did with that one university that
Yeah, so I did attend a university where I walked in, and they'd never used the software before, and they were trying to teach their TAs how to do the classes. And there was this class called Beginning Piano. And so I walked in, and I was, as a guest, helping them teach the class for the first time. And the TA, I said, hey, how about we start with a sight reading exam? Let's give them the Sasser and just see where they are. It's a good point. And she said, well, we can't do that because they don't even know where middle C is. Like, this is a beginning class. I said, well, what'd be really cool is if you could show them how bad they are now and how much they've improved. That would make you look amazing. She's like, let's do that. So we went in and we started giving them their tests. And we were just kind of watching the screen to see students' scores. And you could see some 100s, and yep, they're really struggling. And then we saw somebody who had a 200, and she's like, wait a minute, they know more than they're letting on. And then somebody had a 300, somebody had a 400, and then we started seeing some 700s. And she's like, hey, these guys are lying to me. They know more piano. And so we found out some of them were outreading some of the piano majors. And they signed up for her beginning class. I don't know if it was just for an easy A or what, but at that point she's like, okay, I've got some people who really don't know where middle C is, and some people who are reading better than piano majors all in the same class. What do we do? I said, aren't you glad you know now? So you're not trying to teach middle C, and these kids are like, I'm so bored. So at that point we said, all right, let's just kind of let them work on things in their own level, and then you can just kind of create their own pathway and let them work on their own stuff. So that was really, really insightful to see what you're working with before you actually dive in and start teaching.